Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, boys and girls. Well, there's breaking news all over the press and the media. Turns out, the leader of Afghanistan is saying that if you're not with us, you're against us. And who is he talking about? He's saying that the Taliban, the terrorists, the extremists, are working in alliance, in collusion, colluding with the US government. Well, what's really going on in Afghanistan? You see, because of 9/11 and the emotions around it, people have basically ignored the wars in Afghanistan, the wars in Iraq, and not paid attention to any of the real situations. Right now we have a strange occurrence going on in a place called Wardak in Afghanistan. Hamid Karzai, the leader of Afghanistan, has been asking the US government officials to move out of certain provinces that have been getting too much aggressive bombings, killings, and various things, and asking for the local government, the local police, and the local Afghan army to take over operations and conduct in certain areas. You see, the US military, according to Karzai, has been going in, torturing and getting involved in extrajudicial killings. What everybody's hearing all over the place, this concept of green on blue and everybody fighting against each other. We're supposed to be training the Afghans so that they can stand up and we can stand down. Well, if you're not familiar with what's going on, there's the CPT, the Counter-Terrorism Pursuit Team. This is the team of elite American forces that goes in, does the things that nobody else wants to do, and according to Karzai, he has no oversight or no control over what's going on in his own country. He has no say in the sovereignty of his own nation, and that the Americans can just come in, send in their CPTs, counter-terrorism pursuit teams, and go in and conduct torture and killings without any oversight whatsoever. To the people in Afghanistan, the US, the NATO people, the so-called allies, are being seen as occupiers. And just like happened in Iraq is now happening in Afghanistan, the general public are asking, saying, please, please leave. This happened ages ago with the British military in Afghanistan. Please proceed, try to take it over. Then the Russians, please proceed, try. Now the Americans. Please proceed, Mr. President. Please proceed to leave. You see, Hamid Karzai is asking them and saying, listen, we want to have control over our own lands. Bagram area, the Bagram prison. We want to be able to decide what happens to the people in the prison, who gets let go, who stays. And the US is saying, no, it's up to us, the United States, to decide who is a high-value target, who is a high-value prisoner. It's not up to the Afghans to make these decisions. So the Afghans are wondering, do they have any control over their sovereign territories at all? Chuck Hagel for the Pentagon just went to go to Afghanistan now that he's been sworn in and the Republicans accepted his nomination and didn't block it. But when he got to Afghanistan, because of all these tensions, his press release and his press meeting with Hamid Karzai got canceled. The Khyber Pass, are we going to have to fight in the Khyber Pass? Or are you going to let it go? Is it the Afghan army versus the Taliban? If the Americans leave and they're talking about pulling the troops out maybe in 2014, and what we're trying to say is do it much, much earlier. Please proceed, Mr. President. Proceed to leave. The Afghan army is not able to stand up against the Taliban, and the Taliban consider themselves the rightful rulers. With all the corruption, with all the bribes, with all the covert money going in to place Hamid Karzai and those who the West deems fit to lead, and cousins and uncles and brothers and nephews all getting secret positions in the government, secret contracts, and money coming in from the West and being funneled out to Europe or to the Middle East. Now we're seeing that there is possibly this theory that the US military or the military-industrial complex or the covert groups that won the military torture and extrajudicial events that are off the military books, companies like Blackwater and the like, hired guns and mercenaries, we see that there has been a theory and a claim. Here in the West, it's always done by the conspiracy theorist or the InfoWars people, those who are talking about the black ops and black helicopters. The theory that the Gulf of Tonkin, false flags, Pearl Harbor, false flags, the U-boat crisis, certain times, false flags, getting America and the general public into the idea that we need to prolong the fight and get into the fight. And the same thing is being said now for the first time by Hamid Karzai himself. He's going out in front of the media, in front of the press, and saying that the operations, the green on blue and blue on green, the terrorism strikes in U.S. military sites in Afghanistan is being organized and promoted and done with the U.S. military? Well, that's basically saying that the U.S. is planning to kill their own soldiers. Well, of course, not being done directly, not being done in open, but the amount of money and corruption and bribery let in to put Hamid Karzai and his people in the front. Yet still, the stories are breaking out, so that even the president of Afghanistan himself, Hamid Karzai, is saying, I believe that the U.S. government is in collusion with the terrorists and extremists and supporting them to prolong the war and generate a never-ending perpetual fight. A war that never ends. Terrorism, Taliban, the military-industrial complex working with rogue elements from the Taliban, the CIA working with the Taliban, just like had been done in the times of Afghanistan with Russia, just as has been done with members of the Middle East from 9/11, that the government has always had closer ties. Not every branch of government, but enough of the individuals pushing certain buttons so that now even the leader of Afghanistan is saying, we want you to leave our country. We want you to leave our country and we want to rule ourselves, govern ourselves, inflict punishment or demand justice ourselves. NATO, US, the US military, President Barack Obama, please proceed to leave Afghanistan. And while all this is happening, the US government is claiming we're in formal peace talks with the Taliban. Breaking news. Hamid Karzai is asking for his country back. Even after the Americans put him in, gave him money, supported him, he's saying, I want my country back. Oh, American soldiers, please leave. We'll take care of our own mess. Is there an answer to peace? Is the changes coming? My name's Salim Siddiqui. You're listening to Hot Conflict. We talk and teach the story of truth and the unseen world and many other series at the hotconflict.com website to help you understand what's going on in the world around you and why things are the way they are right now. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.